Hey y'all, this is Jasmine Jones with the Business Umbrella here with the Let's Talk Business podcast. This series is called The Big Jump and is geared towards entrepreneurs who are thinking about starting a business but have not yet taken the big jump. So today we have with us Courtney with Courtney Glaude LLC.
Yes.
How you doing today?
I'm good. How you?
Pretty good. So we can jump right into it. First, tell us a little bit about your business and what inspired you to get started.
Like she said, my name is Courtney Glaude. I am a filmmaker. I have a production company called Courtney Glaude LLC here based in Houston. We've done feature films, TV series, commercials, pilots, anything, even YouTube show. We have a YouTube show as well. I would say I was always into like telling stories or whatever. So I kind of slipped into, nobody ever told me that you could be a filmmaker though. Like I thought when I wrote stories, it was just something that you wrote and kept in a book somewhere.
Right.
Ran into a couple of people that were just like, hey, you ever thought about filmmaking? I did my first film, my first short film, I think in 2016. And then I did my first feature film in 2018. Took it to AMC. It came out in AMC for like 7 days here in Atlanta. And we've been moving ever since.
Ever since. Wow. That's amazing. So tell me just a little bit about how that experience was when you first got started. Like when you decided, okay, I am going to do filmmaking. What were some of the steps you did to get started?
So one of the things that was very, very hard was choosing, because I used to do music. So the jump from music to film was huge for me, because for me, you have to dedicate yourself 100%.
Right.
So you know how like you straddle the fence, you're like, well, for like a year, I straddled the fence to where it's like, well, I'm going to do music, but I'm going to also take film opportunities. But nothing ever worked because you're not giving your focus 100% into anything. So when my daughter was born, I started praying about it. And I was like, hey, God, whatever you want me to do, she can't live off of my bank account and what it is standing right now.
Today, right.
What it is today, this ain't going to make it. And I think we was in a hospital. She had to be in the hospital for like a couple of days. And I think like the second day she was in there, I got a call from this lady that was like, hey, I heard you write stories. I want to turn my book into a script. I was like, cool. And I just threw a number out there. She was like, all right, come pick up the check. So at that moment, I was like, all right, this is something. I felt like that was a sign. And I was like, this is something I really need to indulge into. So I started giving it 100% after that. And again, like, yeah, we've been
It's been up ever since.
It's been up ever since.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Okay. So being in business, so about 3 or 4 years you've been in business?
Yeah, so we did Blink in 2018. So I would say like around 2012 is when my daughter was born, but it still wasn't. It was kind of like we was on, but it was kind of like up and down, up and down. Film is such a huge thing that you can go in a million directions.
Right.
Around 2016 is when it was like, all right, feature films, stories is what the direction that we want to go into basically as a company versus commercials or just shooting events or something like that.
Okay, so since 2016, what are some of the challenges you have faced, and like how did you overcome them? Like what are 3 main challenges you faced since 2016, and how did you overcome those challenges?
So the first thing is financing, because at that point in time, I didn't know enough about the industry to be creative enough to do stuff without money.
Okay.
Like I figured it out now how I can do more things, but then I didn't know enough about the industry to do it. So the first thing, it was financing, because it seemed as if everything costs so much.
Right.
You want to do this film, it's gonna cost, and then how they present it is if it's impossible. You want to do this film, you need like $1 million to do this film, and that totally wasn't true. So one of the things, it was the information that you needed. And I don't mean the information for me. I don't mean, and this is just for the film industry, I don't mean the information about how to make a movie. I mean the information on how to make money off of a movie that you made.
Okay.
That's the information that was the hardest to come by, because they just I can't curse on here, right?
You can do it.
Oh, okay, yeah. We can start over, because I've been.
We want you to be honest. We want you to be honest with the entrepreneurs. Respectful, but you can be honest.
I was trying to be a Christian at first. I was like, all right. So the shit hard. So it's like they don't give you the shit that you should know.
Right.
They give you the things that will get your project it'll start you, but a lot of probably like 60 to 7% of productions they never finish because of the information that you need to finish, on top of the finances that you need to get it done, how to budget. So for me, the hardest thing was financing, but also when you get that money, what you gonna do with it? Because when you get it, and if you do what they told you to do, you're not gonna finish. That's why it's so complicated. So it was more or less about the information. This ain't the stuff. I don't mean like creatively. I don't mean like how to shoot this. I mean like where do you go for distribution?
Right.
Who do you contact?
The administrative side of it.
Mm-hmm. Like who do you contact to get this plug to get into these places?
Right.
Who do you supposed to be talking to at the film festivals?
Right.
What happens? What is that process? Okay, and then they don't even tell you, like for me, like I got into AMC.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I got into AMC because I bugged the shit out of them. No, I bugged AMC for like 6 months, and they finally sent me an email back because they were opening up this thing called AMC Independent.
Mm-hmm.
Then I sent them a pink box to their corporate office with my film in it, from the lady's name saying, "Attention, Amanda Albert."
Right.
With my name on it.
You got very intentional
Absolutely.
with everything you were doing.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And then she ended up emailing me back. So I ended up getting an AMC. I can guarantee you that you got filmmakers in this city right now that have probably spent like $500,000 on a movie and don't even know that they can get an AMC without going through nobody.
So tell me, if that's a lot of information, but if you tried to sum up how you overcame the challenge of finances, what would that be?
The hood, man. There's no, straight up, man. There is no. The one thing about me, you can't just tell me no. You know.
Right.
Yeah. Like I'm not. You can't tell me no. There is always a way to do something. Just because people don't have the information, 90% of the people that don't have the information, they haven't done it yet. So I kept getting through, because when I kept getting the no's and the closed doors, and when somebody tell me no, I'm like, oh shit, you just don't know you don't know how to do it.
Right.
They told me no, I couldn't get in an AMC. Oh, you just don't have the information. So the advice I would give everybody is, when you get a no, that's not somebody telling you no. That's telling you that they don't have what you need to get where you need to go. Right. That's what the no's are. And if you really realize it, that's why people always be like, oh, it takes 100 no's, but it takes one yes. Yeah, that's 100 people that didn't know what you needed, or they didn't have it themselves.
Right. That just wasn't a fit for what it was you were trying to do.
For whatever it is.
So here at the Business Umbrella, we do budgeting and forecasting for entrepreneurs. So I wanted to tie that into what you said. So with the financing, do you feel like it would have been more beneficial for you if you would have already had like a startup budget for the project you were trying to record? Like if you knew ahead of time what everything was going to cost, and you know how much everything was going to cost, so that, do you think that would kind of have helped you to get where you wanted to be faster?
Well, yeah, with film, it's still always guessing, because what happens is, I don't care if someone any filmmaker tells you that they hit their budget, they lied. They're lying in your face. And I'm going to tell you, there are the smallest things that happen on set that can throw you off budget. Right. And I mean, from somebody's plane coming in, because especially in Houston, it rained today. We can't film for 2 hours.
Yeah.
That 2 hours gotta go somewhere. We have to reboot this 2 hours somewhere. That's gonna change the budget.
So can you budget for that though? Can you budget for like miscellaneous or mishaps? Can you just say, okay, we're gonna put $10,000 towards?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. But just like you said, you gotta know that you have to do that.
You have to have that information ahead of time.
That's the information I didn't have.
Okay.
So when they say budget, I'm budgeting to the T.
All the way down.
All the way. Oh, you gonna drink 2 waters? We need a case of 34, because he gonna, like, I'm budgeting to the T.
Breaking
and
it
then
down.
when you was thirsty that day, so you drunk 3, but that threw me off, because I had you at 2.
2.
Mm-hmm. It's that specific when it comes down to film. Actually, when it comes down to business, I think it's that specific anyway.
Yeah.
It's just about the information and covering, crossing the T's and dotting the I's on everything.
Okay, so I mean that was great information. Is there another big challenge that you had to overcome getting started?
Yeah. Also, it was also like a confidence thing. So like again,
That's
like
a big one for
yeah,
entrepreneurs because
like
a lot of them don't feel confident in themselves, which is why they haven't taken that
absolutely,
big jump.
yeah.
Right.
And then not only do you have to have starters confidence, you have to have the marathon confidence too.
To keep going.
You got to keep going. Like that shit. That shit just not gonna look the way that I'm telling you. You see my first film right now. I don't even like showing people Blink. I'm for real, and that's the one, man. People like Blink has bought my mom a crib.
Right.
Like
Right.
Blink has bought my mom a crib. My daughter's taken care of. I don't like showing people Blink.
Right, because
For me,
it was the start.
So imagine what I did before then. So the confidence to continue to go when it don't look the way that it's supposed to look.
Right.
Also, like again, like I'm from Fifth Ward, so it's like, man, niggas ain't nobody come up trying to make no film.
Right.
Like, bro, how are you gonna go on the block? My nigga selling like you and you like, hey, come
Yeah.
to my film premiere. It's like, nigga, what? Like, so it's you have to have confidence through your surroundings because they see you as one thing. And it's so funny, like I always said, like negativity always comes with truth because that person that sees you, he gonna tell you something that's very, very true about you.
Right.
It's just not you no more.
Right.
Because he don't see
Who you trying to become.
who you trying to become. So when he tell you who you were, it's gonna resonate with you.
Right.
So that's how you end up going backwards because you like, oh man, he know me. And when and the confidence to continue going is even if when the people that you love, man, it's the weirdest thing. It's like people will shoot you negativity in the most positive way.
Right.
They will tell you what you can't do in the most loving, comfortable way. Man, that's a great idea. I don't know if you should,
right.
man, I mean, cause you was good when we was on the block though. That you always make like it's so comforting. Let me get you a drink. Like it's the most comforting thing ever. Cause these the people. If something happened to you, something happened to your daughter, something happened to your family, they gonna be there. They love you.
Right.
They're just projecting what they know they can't do or what they don't understand on you. So some of the worst words that you could possibly receive is from a person that you love that love you too.
So how do you overcome that? You use that as motivation, or if you had to give advice on something like that?
For me, that's a difficult question just because I always knew. I don't mean this in I mean this in the most humblest way. I always knew it was something different for me. Like I never wanted to work for anybody, and I felt so comfortable making film. I felt so comfortable writing. So in my mind, I'm like, why would God give me this if I couldn't?
Right.
Like perfect example, my best friend, my cousin. This my guy. He's my daughter's godfather. I'm his son's goddad.
Yeah.
I went to him first and asked him for money because he been working at like United since we was in high school.
Right.
So he been working there for like 10, 15 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
I went and asked him for money. He told me the realest thing he could have ever told me. He was like, why would I give you money for something you've never done?
Ooh. Wow.
Like, why would I give you money for something you've never done? It was the realest thing I've ever heard, which made me be like, damn, nigga, you right. Let me go save up my bread. Let me do it. And then I'm going to come back now. Just so happened after I did, I ain't need his bread no more. But we cool. Like, we good. We good. He understand. Right. You know what I'm saying? But that was the realest thing. Like, why would I give you? And that's everybody's perspective around you. They love you. But why would I give you that for something you've never done before?
I actually want to speak on that for a second. For the inspiring entrepreneur, if you're looking into getting into a certain field, you have to do your research.
Absolutely.
So when I work with clients and we do startup projects, I tell them your first project is you need to learn everything you need. If you want to do trucking, you need to know everything about trucking. You need to research, get on podcasts. There's so much free information out there. You need to come to the table with some type of plan, because why would anybody invest if you've never done it before and you don't have the knowledge base about it?
I could tell everybody the realest thing that they could possibly do is save up $100 and come to when you come into an investor, come to the investor with that same 100. And let me tell you why. You might not have the money, but if nobody likes investing their money solely by themselves.
Right.
They would respect that you said that you only got $100 to put up.
Right.
That would definitely change the table.
Right.
I got $100 to put up, and if you give me another year, I have another 100. What you mean another year, bro? I'm working at Jack, and I got a
Right.
daughter to take care of. But if you give me a year, I'll be able to stack this other 100.
Right.
They will respect that more than I need you to save me and
Right.
change my life.
Yeah.
Your money gonna change my life. That $100 will show them, oh, I'm gonna do it with or without you.
Right.
It's just gonna take me longer by myself.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
Well, there goes some jewels for them, right? Okay, so tell me this. Outsourcing. So as an entrepreneur, do you believe in outsourcing things that you either don't have time for or things you're not expertise in? Do you believe in outsourcing that out? Do you feel like that will help grow your business, or you the type of entrepreneur that wants to do everything yourself?
I think that there is a balance to it. I think that you should always start knowing every part of your business, which means that if you can't do it yourself, you don't need it yet at first. And I think that you should outsource when it becomes overwhelming and starting to affect the business.
Right.
I can't be taking all of these emails because I got a 1, 2, 3. Now I can hire somebody to take these emails.
Right.
But don't try to become a boss before you create a worker within yourself. Because see, a lot of people, they open up day one, they open a business, they want 5 employees.
Right.
Right. But that 5th employee, you don't know their job. So how you gonna tell them to do it if you don't know it?
Right.
I know every part of film. And then something that I don't know, I went hired a professional and worked under them.
Right.
To look at them do
expertise.
it. And I still do it. Like I still go on set. Like right now, even though I got my own film company, I still go to sets and just be a PA. And a PA is basically a person that comes to set and just helps on any level. I went helped on the set 2 months ago. Right after I did my film, one of my biggest films in December, I worked as a PA. I'm always a student. That's a jewel too. You're always a student.
I believe that.
I don't care what level you're on. You're always a student. Somebody can always give you something, some type of information that you can receive and make your situation better.
Better, for sure. So do you think that to be successful that you have to have a talent, or do you believe you have to have passion, or a little bit of both?
So I think that you gotta have. I believe passion is grind. Like you have to have a work ethic.
Right.
But I would take a person that can grind, with a great work ethic, over a talented person anyway, because a talented person can still just sit at home and it's still not gonna get done.
Right. Like they say, some of the best basketball players are at the house, huh?
Yeah, somebody said that, like, man, y'all think Michael Jordan was the GOAT. Michael Jordan was just the workhorse. He was the one that kept going. Yeah. Like, it was somebody out there better than him. They just, it was what it was at that point. Yeah.
Okay. So if you had to sit down with the inspiring entrepreneur, what would be your advice to them?
Nobody knows your end goal and your journey better than you do. And if you can't sit with yourself and figure that out between you and God, you can't keep going to people with information when they're blind. So it's like going to a blind man being like, which way should I go? Know your goal, or at least put it down on paper. The number one thing that you could ever do is do a vision board. You could do a vision board. Putting things down on paper is the best thing that you could possibly ever do, because you get the opportunity to see what sounds stupid. Because you'll write some shit down and be like, nigga, what? Why would I want a Bentley and I'm at my mama house?
Right.
Like, looking at that makes a lot of sense.
You see it from a different perspective.
Write it down. Understand, as an entrepreneur, understand where you want to go and how you want to get there. Write it down. That is the number one thing. Pray about it.
And then the beautiful thing about writing it down and definitely praying about it is you can always go back and see it. And even with this podcast, I remember when I first thought about it and I made a post like, anybody know anything about podcasting?
And look,
here we are, so it's definitely a good thing to write it down. I'm 100% in agreement with the vision board. So tell me this, what is one key to success that you are experiencing right now that you wish you would have started with it? Like from day one, you wish you would have been doing that from day one.
Be quiet. Shut up.
Listen.
Yeah, shut up, listen, and be quiet. Everybody don't need to know every step that you're making, because a lot of people come to trip you on the way. So the enemy wouldn't know you was going that way unless you told them. They don't know the step that you're taking unless you told them. Shut up. If you really if you really doing it, there's no reason. What's the point in telling everybody?
Right. Because they're going to see
They're
eventually.
going to see it when it happens. Shut up. All of that boasting, sometimes we get more caught up in boasting about success than we do in actually functioning in the success.
Correct.
So you done did 50 posts about you buying this new house and it ain't furnished yet. Like it's a lot of stuff. No, I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot of stuff that go into a lot of things get cut off because you told too many people about what you were doing. Shut up. I'm talking about like
work.
And go to work. I remember when I first started, I'm putting out trailers and post about the release date before we finish. What are you doing? So then
You was excited.
Yeah, I know, but when you get behind, you know how many people done planned for
They
that
waiting
date?
on
They
that
waiting
release
on that
date.
date. Then you look foolish. Shut up. Just be quiet. It's gonna hit. And then the production of it is gonna tell you when you should speak on it.
Right.
Or what's gonna happen is you doing so. This the thing. You ain't gonna have to talk about the success when it's real, because they gonna hear about it.
Right.
There ain't gonna be nothing. You ain't gotta post about it. You don't see half of Jay-Z and Beyonce and them goals and posts when they sell companies out there. They didn't tell you Jay opened it. He didn't tell you he opened this. They did.
Right.
Let others speak for your success. That's how you know you really successful at something.
That's fire right there. Boom. Drops mic. Okay, so tell us how can the people reach you if somebody wanted to know more about filmmaking or anything like that? How can I get in contact with Courtney?
I am Courtney Glaude. That's Courtney Glaude everywhere. That's all my social media. That's my website. So anywhere you search my name, that's where I'm at. You'll find me.
Well, we sure do appreciate you coming out and sharing your story, inspiring these future entrepreneurs.
Anytime.
So thank you.
Appreciate it, man. I love this. Keep this up.